Okay. Does Leviticus 20:13 refer to lesbians or bi women? Well, now let's read this verse, shall we? If a man lies with mankind as he lies with a woman, both have committed an abomination, and they shall surely be put to death. Their blood shall surely be upon them. Now, does this verse actually mean that it's a sin for a woman to be with a woman? Most of you will say yes. But as we dig deeper and actually go into some of the Hebrew here, not too much Hebrew, mind you, but just a little deeper, the answer, well, I guarantee will surprise you. Okay, now let's look at first of all, let's look at the Hebrew word for man here, which is ish. It is used 1,002 times for man, 69 times as husband. As one, it is used 188 times, and as any 27 times, and as men 210 times, miscellaneously 143 times. If you actually look at this, it is nearly always used to refer to male. Every now and then it can be a little iffy, but later on we will go over and see what this verse would look like if it could actually mean male or female. But not just yet. I'm saving that for funsies. And there's no reason for it to be anything but male here. Now let's look at mankind in this verse. The Hebrew word here is zakar. It is used as male 67 times, man 7 times, mankind 2 times, and man-child 4 times. It is used 3 times as referring to man-child as getting a circumcision. The other time it is used as man-child, it is talking about a woman giving birth to a male. And if you actually look at this, there's no reason for it to even be to show that it means a child here. That just doesn't really make any sense. Now we will get to look at, how about if ish would make any sense here in this verse to be male, to be able to be translated as either male or female. Now let's look at this. At what it would say. I would say if a male or female also lie with a male as they lieth with a female, it is an abomination. See, here's the funny thing here. If it can be if the word for a man can be male or female, it can mean either one, but zakar can only be male. As I read out here, it would make it a sin, first off, for a man to sleep with a man, or a woman to sleep with a woman. But what it would not make a sin is for woman with woman. Because again, zakar can never include female, only male. Now if we go on and look, if it's just translated as male, and you'll see it doesn't really change anything in the verse. It just basically means what it says. If a male also lie with a male as he lieth with a female, both of them hath committed an abomination. So you look at this, it makes a lot more sense for it to be translated only as male. In no sense at all for it to be translated as either male, to be able, for the sexes to be interchangeable here. Because like I said, that would only make it a sin for either male or female to sleep with a male. And I know one of your objections is going to be, what about Romans 1:26 through 32? Well, there's a problem with making this also about, woman with woman, about lesbians or bisexuals. And we will go over it. First of all, it would violate Deuteronomy 4:2. Where it says, do not add or take away from the law? So if this is true, Because the law never states that, then Paul would be guilty of adding and taking away from the law. Not only that, but Paul himself would be violating what he wrote when he wrote in Romans 4:15 that where there is no law, there is no sin. He would also be violating what is written in 1 John 3:4, where it says that sin is a violation of the law. So did Paul sin in 1 Romans 1:26 through 32? Only if he meant, that lesbians and bisexuals was a sin. But as we can see that Paul, that Paul could not and did not do that without he himself violating and committing sin against the Bible. Now, I'm not saying Paul is wrong here, but that your interpretation of what Paul said here is more than likely wrong. It's sinful and violates Deuteronomy 4:2, Romans 4:15, and 1 John 3:4.